Manuel Ugarte and Berge deals stall over the transfer fee as PSG come under pressure to sell Ugarte. A midfield blow as two players who've been linked with a move to United move on. And McTominay is Napoli's priority. Loads to go through that will keep you right up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news. Welcome to Man United Review. My name's Jamie. Before we get into it, please smash a like on the video and let's jump straight into it. So let's kick off with, let's go for the Ugarte stuff. So we know, unless you've been living under a rock by now, that the midfield is supposedly the next priority position for Manchester United. And the heaviest linked player all transfer window has been Manuel Ugarte. So Jason Burke from The Telegraph, who is a good source, said PSG do not want to accept a fee below the 60 million euros, so 51.5 million pounds they paid for Ugarte, but so far it is understood United have indicated they are only prepared to bid less than that. However, there remains hope that a deal can be struck, possibly towards the end of the window. So Telegraph pretty much confirming what we already knew, is that PSG wants 60 million euros. United have apparently offered around 50 million euros. We're not going to increase. PSG don't want to decrease, and that's where we are. There is hope that with George Mendes, who is Ugarte's agent, being in the UK, that some kind of deal can be struck. But this could be one that just drags on a little bit. I think it's just a game of cat and mouse between two big clubs that don't want to budge. We're not going to increase our fee. They don't want to decrease their fee, and we're at that kind of impasse. And then the news from Rob Dawson from ESPN, who's quite credible when it comes to United, or can be quite credible when it comes to United news, said that Erik ten Hag would like to add another midfielder to his squad, but interest in Manuel Ugarte and Sander Berge has stalled because of what Manchester United believe are unrealistic transfer fees. So another top-tier journalist kind of confirming what I just said around Ugarte, is that PSG are not budging on the asking price. It's interesting that he mentioned Sander Berge in there as well, because he is now probably, apart from Ugarte, the most likely midfielder. I think it's going to be narrowed down to one of those two. Apparently, Burnley are holding out for £30 million for Sander Berge because they're trying to apply the United tax, and United are not wanting. They want to pay around £20 million. So again, ones to keep an eye on, but they are the two kind of heaviestly linked midfielders at the moment. And then Sky, literally at the time of recording this video, just come out with an update saying that PSG are under a bit of pressure to do a deal for Manuel Ugarte following the arrival of João Neves. Ugarte wants to join United. So we've had loads of links over the last few days with Fabrizio Romano coming from the Ugarte is in love with the idea of joining United. He wants to come. He's pushing for the deal. George Mendes is apparently in negotiations trying to push the deal through. It's just going to be a waiting game, I think, for Ugarte, whereas if the price can be lowered, then United are obviously going to go for it. And then if not, we might be going for Sander Berge, and there might be a world where we get both. But that would depend on who we sell before the end of the transfer window. Obviously, the heaviestly linked player that we're looking to sell is Scott McTominay. So the latest on that. So Chris Class has come out, who works for I think it's the Times. Yeah, the Times said that Napoli have opened talks with United over Scott McTominay. They would prefer a loan deal. Their transfer budget doesn't stretch to United's asking price of 25 to 30 million pounds. United have made it clear to potential suitors they will only accept bids above 25 million pounds. And I love the fact that United are stamping their foot down on this, because for too long we've had our pants pulled down for players that actually do have a little bit of value, and clubs just undercutting and underbidding us as well. If you look around the market, if players are going for 35 million pounds that I don't think are as good as Scott McTominay, then we should be looking to stamp our feet down, and that's probably a fair valuation. He does have a year left on his contract. I think if he had longer left on his contract, we could be looking, 35, 40 million pounds for McTominay, but the fact he is into the last 12 months of his contract does weaken the position slightly, but he is, I think that's a fair valuation, personally, for McTominay. And then we had Alex Crook, works for TalkSport, came out saying that Napoli Napoli's interest in Scott McTominay is genuine. However, would be surprised if United were willing to sanction a loan deal, as they need the transfer funds to source a replacement. That was when we had all the news yesterday coming out regarding Napoli had made a loan offer that had been rejected by United, because United are not looking for a loan. So Alex Crook confirming that. And then Alfredo Padula, who was actually quite accurate. I think it was last season with, I'm sure it was Højlund and Amrabat. Got a lot of people in a bit of a frenzy online saying that Scott McTominay is Antonio Conte's priority target at Napoli. In the next few hours, a new summit will take place with the player's agent, who has put other proposals on standby. So Alfredo Padula kind of saying that his agent is now working on McTominay deal as a priority for Napoli. And then Padula also said that Scott McTominay has given priority to Napoli. Antonio Conte has asked the club to push and close the deal. There has been a meeting between Napoli and McTominay's agency, and there will be another in the next few hours. So that's one that that's one that's escalating quite quickly. Obviously, it was like 3 days ago, wasn't it, when there was a story that came out saying that Napoli were one of a number of clubs interested in Scott McTominay. Then we've had a loan bid rejected, and now reports saying that not only is McTominay Antonio Conte's priority, but that also Scott McTominay is given priority to Napoli, and that the agencies are currently in talks. The reason all that might go through is because Napoli might be selling Victor Osimhen. And then if they get the funds for that, then Scott McTominay, they'll have the funds to pay what we want for Scott McTominay. But either way, I think it's good that we've got other teams, multiple teams, because Fulham is still there. Brentford, I think, we're interested. We've got Galatasaray Fenerbahce still linked with Scott McTominay. I think it's good. Bidding war is what we want, because he's the one player that we are looking to sell. He's a homegrown player, so the money we get for him will be massive towards the end of the season. But let me know what you think about those reports in the comments. Now, potentially two players that are not going to be coming as a replacement if we did remove Scott McTominay. Youssouf Fofana has been linked with Manchester. It's one step away from joining AC Milan, said Fabrizio Romano. He's put like a post out saying green light. He only wants Milan. Blah, blah, blah. And it looks like Fofana is very, very close to joining Milan. And there's no sign at the moment that United are going to swoop in and hijack that deal, that's been previously reported over the recent weeks. Although the last couple of days I did bring you news saying that Fofana is likely to go to Milan, which I'm a little bit disappointed about, because he's a good opportunity signing for midfield and actually would have been probably my preferred midfield target. But it is what it is. Obviously, the scouts and, people at United are way more qualified to look at midfielders than I am. So, there's a reason why they're going for Ugarte, whether that's opportunity or some kind of data-driven analysis that they've been doing. I think I read a report that was saying that they see Ugarte as the perfect player because of his skill sets to come in and do the job specifically in the team. And as I mentioned on previous videos, we are signing football players to play a style of play. We're not going for names just for the sake of it. We're building finally, after years, building a team to play a specific style of football. And apparently Ugarte is the one that they want, that they think can fit that role, that specific role that that United want him to play, which is fair enough. And then get French football news. I've said that Atletico Madrid have been offered the chance to sign Sophie and Amrabat. They are now looking at other options, with United yet to negotiate a deal with Fiorentina. That's because the Gallagher move has kind of stalled a little bit with Madrid, with Atletico Madrid. So according to reports, they may now be going in for Amrabat. But the interesting story on Amrabat is that he's removed Man United from all of his Instagram bio, his Twitter accounts and all that. No longer says Manchester United anywhere near it, and he's been officially removed from the club's official website. Remember when he was left on there? Because he was obviously at the club when we did all the photo shoots for the new kits, and he was accidentally kind of just left on the squad roster. He's been removed. There are reports suggesting that United are not going to go in for Amrabat. So that's two midfielders. So we've gone from having Ugarte, Fofana, Amrabat, Sanderberg, Adrian Rabiot as the kind of core, the main midfield core players that we've been heavily linked with over this summer. There's been a few others that have dotted in and out, as you do get with transfer rumours and when the transfer window is open, but they've been the core kind of players that we've been linked with. And now it's effectively, it could be just down to three: Rabiot, Ugarte, and Sanderberg. But let me know what you think about that in the comments. Now, another player that we've been potentially looking to move on anyways is Jadon Sancho. Jason Butt, again from the Telegraph, good source, said Manchester United are ready to give Jadon Sancho the chance to fight for his career at the club, and PSG are unlikely to bid for him. PSG does not appear to be Jadon Sancho's likely destination. He is currently not part of their plans. So it's really mixed news on Jadon Sancho, like there is on most of the players we're actually linked with at the moment, because we've got good credible sources, like French sources. Fabrice Hawkins has been quite good in regards to, and we've had stories from L'Equipe, quite good with French kind of reporting this summer, saying that PSG do want Sancho, and then Jason Butt from the Telegraph, who is also a credible source, saying that PSG don't want Sancho. So it's really difficult to kind of read between the lines. I think personally that's my personal opinion is that might just be negotiation tactics, where I do think that PSG potentially do want Sancho, but they're like us with Ugarte. They want him at a decent price. We're not prepared to lower that price because they're not lowering the price for Ugarte, and I think the teams, they're just butting heads. But yeah, it is what we're obviously going to need to wait and see what happens. We're getting loads of, like I said, it's really weird the last kind of week, because we've had loads of credible sources saying one thing and then also credible sources saying another. So there's some kind of miscommunication going on. Normally you'll have all the credible sources saying one thing and then the bullshit rumor stuff saying another thing, and you can kind of differentiate between the two. But we've got good sources saying one thing and also good sources saying another thing, which is kind of causing a little bit of confusion and a little bit of frustration, I suppose. But let me know what you think in the comments. But obviously we'll keep an eye on it, and I'll bring you any updates if they come out. And then I wanted to talk about Luke Shaw. So the Muppeteers have said that Manchester United want to give Luke Shaw this season to see if he could get back into shape, but he's now out for 6 weeks and may be a little late to decide on buying a top young left back. In terms of long term, Manchester United are very interested in Milos Kerkez and Atnuri, but potentially going to be next summer deals. So the Muppeteers, who's got good sources and connections with United, effectively saying that United were preparing to give Luke Shaw one more chance to prove his fitness and get back in, and give him the kind of benefit of the doubt that last season was, obviously we had the World Cup, a lot of games, was he unlucky with injuries and stuff, so they weren't necessarily planning to buy a top quality left back this summer, because they were expected where they were going to give Luke Shaw the opportunity. But now that he's been out, is effectively already out before even kicking a ball this season, there's a shock. It's left United in a position a little bit too late to go and get one of the top players that they're looking for. So we might be in a position where we're either going to have to just go with what we've got and just pray to God that Mazraoui or Dalot don't pick up an injury before Shaw and Malacia can come back, because I do think we'd be massively short in cover in the fullback areas, or potentially look at a loan option. I mentioned some names yesterday. We've got Marcus Alonso, Sergio Reguilon, obviously Hermoso, although that deal's gone a little bit quiet over the last couple of days. Just a few of the names that potentially, Ben Chilwell was the other one, but I don't believe the credibility of the Ben Chilwell stories personally. But so it might be that if in an emergency, United may bring in like an emergency left back just on a short-term loan, and then attack and get a good top quality young left back next summer, which it is what it is. There's not much we can do about it now, because as I mentioned the other day, we've got so many holes in the squad. We've got priorities that are like, even though a left back in my opinion is a priority, but centre half number one priority this transfer window, then the midfield, and then potentially the attack, depending on if we sell Sancho. But let me know what you think about that in the comments. Peter Schmeichel had some interesting words to say about Luke Shaw, which I just wanted to bring in. So he said, the one that really gets me is Luke Shaw, and he's injured again. We need him. The decision to go to the Euros, having not played since February, just doesn't sit well with me. It's fair enough if you play a full season. It's fair enough if you're fit going into the tournament, but going in not fit, not playing until the semi-final or the quarter-final, and now he's not, and now he's got another injury and he's out. So Schmeichel kind of sharing mine and probably your frustration regarding the Luke Shaw situation. It's obviously I'm sure he didn't plan to get injured, but I think most of you could have seen that coming, and I think most fans were kind of massively upset with the decision, not just by Luke Shaw, but also Gareth Southgate and England to take him to the Euros in the first place, knowing full well that he has injury issues and Lobiodi's come back, not even kicked the ball, and is out for up to 6 weeks. But who knows? Who knows how long it could be with Shaw? But let me know what you think about that in the comments. And then just quickly in other news, Sky have been saying that Manchester United are expecting formal offers for Christian Eriksen, but that's kind of been widely reported anyway. I think we would look to offload Christian Eriksen. And then there was a report saying that Manchester United are looking to offload Lindelof, Hannibal Mabry and Palestri, and they want the same kind of fees that they got for Alvaro Fernandez and Willy Camboire, so between 5 and 10 million euros basically for all of those. Palestri's been heavily linked with Bologna over the last couple of days. Obviously, I brought you that news the other day, so they're definitely ones to keep an eye on as we creep towards the end of the transfer window. But that's you all up to date with the Manchester United news and transfer news. Please drop your thoughts in the comments below. I do enjoy reading them. Smash a like on the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I will see you in the next one.